Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is Throwaway 542312121144, posted to r/mytheasshole June 30th, 2022. Am I the asshole for banning my sister from ever seeing my daughter again? Content warnings for imminent death, manipulation, accusations of abandonment, and possible kidnapping. Jesus Christ. I, 36 male, got married 12 years ago, and my wife and I had a daughter, Rebecca, 10 female. My sister, Lindsay, never really liked my wife, and I had to put some strong boundaries in place. It was not a good time. And Lindsay really hated my wife more since she said I was choosing my wife over family. Well, 2 months ago, my wife's father got really sick, and after a long talk, we decided that she will go take care of him until he passes away. That's the last of her family. We thought he would move in with us, but he wanted to go at his home. So, my wife packed her stuff and flew across the country to him and his full-time caretaker. He probably has a month or two more. When Lindsay heard about this, she made a comment at dinner when Rebecca was at the table that my wife has abandoned her. This was the last straw, and I went no contact with her. Rebecca really loves her aunt though, and it's been hard. Rebecca wants to hang out with her aunt, and I've refused to let her. I work from home, and yesterday around lunchtime, I can't find her. There's a note in her room saying she went to have lunch with Lindsay. I was furious and tracked Rebecca's phone, the first time that has ever happened, and they were at restaurant. I get there as fast as possible and grab my kid. I told Lindsay she will never see my daughter again. This started an argument, and I literally walked out halfway through. Rebecca the whole time was crying, and I asked for her phone. She gave it, and I deleted her aunt's contact information and told her, "You will never be talking to her again as long as you are a minor." She was crying even more. I told my wife, and she thinks I did the right thing and has been on the phone with Rebecca a lot since it happened. I've been fending off calls from my family calling me a jerk. I need an honest opinion since Rebecca and my family sure think I'm awful. Verdict, not the asshole. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Info, why does your daughter love Lindsay so much if Lindsay is so disrespectful and hateful to her mother? Not the asshole, but I think you need to have discussions where you listen with Rebecca. Opie responds, Lindsay loves to spoil Rebecca, and usually the comments are not heard by Rebecca. The main target is my wife, and since she's not here, and she knows I won't put up with it, move to Rebecca. Commenter 2. Info, you're absolutely not the asshole, but does your daughter know why she can't see her aunt? If not, I think a kid-friendly discussion needs to happen ASAP. OP responds, I have explained it to her, and so has her mom. She is still very sad. She's also having a hard time understanding why going out to lunch with her aunt was a bad thing, since Lindsay would take her out to eat before. It was a mess. Commenter 3. Info, did your sister take your daughter to lunch across state lines? If so, the FBI might want to talk to your sister about child trafficking. You have a very specific set of skills to get your daughter back so fast. Your sister should be glad you're not Liam Neeson. Opie responds, no, it was a 20-minute drive to a Red Robin. We live in the middle of the state. When I noticed she was gone, I used Find My iPhone, and it brought me right to her. Commenter 4. Info. How did your sister take your 10-year-old daughter out of the house without you being aware? I'm not trying to attack, but I'm honestly trying to figure it out. Opie responds, I have an office, and it's summer. Rebecca's schedule when she doesn't do clubs is to wake up around 10 and watch TV, have a bowl of cereal. At 12, I come out of the office and make lunch. She has never left the house without permission before. At most, she'll go to the backyard, and she usually asks. Since she likes to play in the backyard, my office is towards the back of the house where I can see the backyard. So I watch her through the office window. She is old enough that we don't have to watch her 24/7, and she's learning to be independent, so she gets herself ready for events. So yesterday, she woke up and got ready and left out the front. I went to make lunch at 12, and she was gone. Lindsay never stepped foot in this house. Update, July 18th, 2022, 2.5 weeks later. So, it's been like 2.5 weeks since all this happened. Thank you to everyone that responded. So after this whole mess, me and my daughter traveled to where my wife is and her dad. We're all going to stay there until her dad passes away, and I have a feeling it'll be soon. He's not doing well. Rebecca is still kinda upset that she won't see her aunt again, but having her mom around really helps. My wife and I discussed it for a long time, and we decided to make a paper trail about what happened. So, all that happened is now on record. My family kept blowing up my phone for a bit until I told them she's lucky I didn't call the cops. They got quiet for a bit, and according to my cameras, showed up at my place. It took them a while to figure out we left to be with my wife. Now, Lindsay, yesterday, it must have sunk in that I wasn't joking, and she called so many times, and I gave in to see what she had to say. It was a long apology on her end and asked if she can see Rebecca. I told her no, that she needs to stay away, and she crossed a huge boundary. She asked if she could talk to my wife. I put her on speaker. Lindsay then apologized to my wife about what she did. My wife was quite brutal and basically said if she really meant it, then stay away from them. At the moment, Lindsay won't be seeing my daughter again for a bit. If she does stay away, then maybe she will see us Thanksgiving and Christmas. If she doesn't behave, then probably won't see my kid until she's 18. Again, thank you to everyone for the good advice. Edit, she knows why, it was explained. Still, Lindsay was a huge part of her life. It's like when you have a friend that's great to you, but she's awful to others. It's, I can be her friend since she's nice to me and ignore what that friend does to others. Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. I really think you need to explain to Rebecca why she can't see her aunt. Explain the sequence of events and constant abuse towards her mother. If you don't, she'll only get her aunt's version and will likely keep seeing her once she turns 18. OP responds, we did explain it to her. She knows in child-friendly terms. A lot of what she did is not suited to be heard by a young kid. There's a lot of bad blood and other stuff. She knows the basics, especially what happened in the post. When she is older, we'll explain in more detail. She's having trouble due to Lindsay being a huge part of her life, and she lost her. She still misses her, and is dealing with Lindsay wasn't a good person to mom and me, but she was good to her. That since she was good to me, why can't she be around me? Commenter 2. Does your sister have kids? She seems overly attached to your child. OP responds, no, she doesn't. She actually wants to be child-free. She's fantastic with kids in small amounts, like a day trip. She gets to be the fun aunt that spoils the kid. Commenter 3. Good job for standing up for your wife like that and joining her while she's going through this difficult time. I know it's hard for your daughter to understand, but her aunt literally kidnapped her, and she doesn't deserve to hear such things about her mom abandoning her. In time, I'm sure she'll understand better. But my question is, you say your family showed up at your house. Why? Was your sister there too? Are you worried they'll show up again when you're back? Thank you for the update. That is unfortunately where OP's updates ended. However, the sister is lucky the cops weren't involved, because if I went to my child's bedroom and I saw that note on their bed, I would definitely be getting the cops involved immediately. That is unacceptable. Rebecca's 10, so of course she's not gonna know any better, but Lindsay is a grown fucking adult. They know better. They know what they're doing wrong. And they also know what they're doing with the constant insults and jabs when it comes to OP's wife. You're choosing your wife over your family. Motherfucker, that is my family. And you just kidnapped my daughter. Not to mention, I don't blame OP not wanting unsupervised visits with Lindsay, especially with the kind of vile venom she's spewing. How do you know that Rebecca's not just gonna get an earful of stuff that's gonna make her hate her mother while she's taking care of her sick and dying father? My only criticism of OP is that I really think you probably should have used more harsh and exact language with explaining why Lindsay was in the wrong here. Because if you use child-friendly terms, well, it's child-friendly. It's already watered down. And when something's watered down, it's by definition easier to swallow. Easier to see the actions as being child-friendly, and not what they actually are. Maybe I'm giving the 10-year-old brain too much credit, but I do feel like 10 is an age where you can kind of be more firm with your language. This post was collected by Drake Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Tech and the City, posted to r/mytheasshole June 14th, 2026. Am I the asshole requiring brother-in-law's family to vacate the primary bedroom when my family visits our vacation house? My 36 female parents and I own a property in a Tier 1 Asian city that has been in our family for now 3 generations. My parents were considering selling it a while back, but I bought them out. Though I paid lower than market price, my parents were happy with the deal, and they still have a place to stay when they get back. Usually the property is rented out, but my husband's younger brother fell in hard times, and we offered to let them temporarily stay at the property rent-free so they can save up. They've been there for the past 2 years. Whenever we've gone back to visit, usually once a year for 2 weeks, I've had to specifically request that they temporarily vacate the primary bedroom. They hemmed and hawed the first time until my husband, 38 male, reminded them that we were doing them a favor. This year, we're not going back, but my parents are. I gave them a half-year heads up on the dates my parents were going. All seemed fine. Last week, I got a call from my parents saying they were staying in a hotel. Apparently, they arrived and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law said they were hosting friends and the only space available was the home office with a pull-out couch. My parents are in their 70s and did not want to fight them after a long flight, and also did not want to antagonize my relationship with my in-laws, so decided to move to a hotel. Honestly, if this happened to my family, they'd be vacating more than just the master bedroom. I was furious. Typing this, I still am furious. I told my husband that he should be the one to handle this because no one would like the way I handle it. My husband basically told his brother that he's done and he needed to move out immediately. My brother-in-law/sister-in-law texted me and left me voice notes calling me a bunch of names. In-laws have called me begging me to reconsider and to give them grace. Frankly, I don't really care what happens to brother-in-law and sister-in-law anymore. I haven't responded to any messages and I'm just letting my husband handle it. And your husband is handling it. Verdict, not the asshole. Update, July 12th, 2026, 1 month later. Brief update, my husband ended up handling the situation and had to take time off to travel back, which he was not pleased about. We had decided it was prudent for us to pay for a few months of alternative housing for them as a way to cover all our bases. I'm so glad we did. I had, in a fit of temper, jokingly said to my husband that they were going to tell us they couldn't move out because they're pregnant. And lo and behold, when brother-in-law used that excuse, apparently it just set my husband off. This is a man that's never raised his voice to me above an excited rambling. I think the rage he went into genuinely scared his family. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law are now situated in the alternative housing. My in-laws called my parents to apologize, and overall, the whole atmosphere is tense, but at least brother-in-law and sister-in-law are no longer living at my house, and we can have peace of mind there. All in all, through this experience, I feel incredible love and pride to have married my husband. I married this straight-off-the-boat dude based on his principles, integrity, and kindness, and time again, he's shown me why I have zero regrets over it. Yeah, 2 years of living there rent-free, they coincidentally forget the parents are visiting and have guests over to essentially lock them down and make it so they don't have to give it the master. They weren't planning on ever moving out. Honestly, what I would have done is 6 months rent-free. That's enough time for you to build a nest egg, to get a down payment, and to get out. After that 6 months, I'm charging above market value for rent. It's generous enough for them to get on their feet, but it's not generous enough for them to take advantage of you. But of course, hindsight is 2020. What's nice about these posts is that we all get that hindsight 2020, and when we all encounter situations like this in our lives, well, we have an idea of what to maybe do to approach this. But massive W for taking care of this efficiently. Saw a problem, saw the disrespect, did not hesitate to put his brother in his place. And this is a guy that's normally well put together and only gets loud when he's excited. That's an anger that's telling you that he's no longer willing to put up with your shenanigans, and this time, he means it. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, I'm keeping that garlic. The original OP is Throw RA 186252, posted to r/relationship advice, October 2nd, 2021. My boyfriend faked his death and then called my reaction manipulative. Content warning for self-harm relapse, drunk driving, manipulation, and emotional abuse, and soft mood spoiler because the topic of this, there is a good ending for OP. Me and my boyfriend. I'm 21 female, he's 24 male. Together for 3 years, live apart, but have/had plans to rent together soon. Everything perfect before this. Backstory. I have a history of self-harm. Have done since I was 11 years old. The last time I did it was 2 years ago. I have some brutal scars, but I'm doing much better, and I'm in therapy. It's been a while since I even had the urge. My boyfriend had an ex before me who played mind games a lot. I feel it's relevant as he sometimes thinks I'm playing games when I'm not. For example, he was wary when he started dating that I would self-harm for attention or do it to punish him. His ex would threaten things like that if he ever left her. I don't/haven't ever done this, and despite my struggles, I'm pretty good with being patient and communicative. Until this, I considered us to have a really healthy relationship. Main story, boyfriend went out drinking with his friends. I usually hear from him as he gets home, 2 a.m.-ish, to let me know he is home and safe. But I didn't hear anything last night. I figured he just forgot, no biggie. I went to bed as normal. I woke up at 11 a.m. to a bunch of missed calls from his mother. They live together. I called her back and she texted at 1 p.m. that she couldn't talk. I was kinda worried and told her as much. She said my boyfriend didn't get home last night and was in a crash and didn't make it. This was super weird to me since I get on well with his mom and would never expect to be told this via text. After some more texting, I fully believed my boyfriend had passed away that morning, and I totally shut down. The people I live with were all out that day, so I was alone. Grief set in immediately, and I had an extremely bad relapse on my self-harm. At that point, I didn't even care. I was just hurting so much, and my usual coping techniques just weren't doing their job. I listened to old voice notes of his and even sent one telling him how much I loved him through the most unhinged sobbing I've ever done. Well, he arrived at my house 20 minutes later, saying it was a prank. Since he got into a small bump and thought I'd get mad about him driving drunk, as well as about him mushing up his car a little. And him and his friends came up with this plan to make me happy he was alright. So they took his mom's phone, and the above happened. I obviously was thankful he wasn't dead, but I had a million other much stronger emotions. I was so angry he drove drunk. So angry he saw nothing wrong with it. So angry that he would lie about something so serious, and absolutely heartbroken that he let me sit in grief for over an hour until I sent a voice note that made him feel bad. Plus lots of other things I'm still struggling to articulate. He found out I harmed and flew off the handle. He said I punished him and turned a harmless prank into something much more serious and ruined the joke of it. Fuck you. He said I was guilting him for having fun, and now he can't trust I won't do it again. He even suggested I stay in hospital for my mental issues for a few weeks and crank up therapy. He said he can't leave me if he wants now, or else I'll act like this, just like his ex. I am beyond hurt. I probably should look into therapy if I'm still resorting to it, I admit, but this was not an everyday bout of anxiety or even a breakup. I thought he had died. I'm also very aware that his actions were massively shitty and he is being so manipulative in the aftermath. How is it a punishment if I thought he was dead? I absolutely would not react like this if he just broke up with me, and I have never said or hinted at that. Not really sure what to do now. My gut tells me to leave him over this, but I'm so unsure. OP's comments. User Grunt Bugly. Your boyfriend is a horrible person. What he did shows deep character flaws. The drunk driving is bad enough. The more so because he knew it was wrong and chose to do it anyway. But the harmless prank? That's just mean. So disrespectful and inconsiderate. Made all the more so by your personal history. And speaking of the accident, did he leave the scene of an accident while he was drunk driving, or was he late getting home because he got a DUI? OP responds, he bumped into a fence post, so luckily no one was injured, but the potential was there, as well as the carelessness. I don't know if he was late or not, honestly. I think he planned this almost immediately, and not texting me all night is part of it. User Cooking5 comments, he sucks in this situation. And for the record, the whole he sometimes thinks I'm playing mind games like his ex tells me this is not an all-around otherwise healthy relationship. I'm sure it has some good, but it's not otherwise completely healthy. It's also very concerning to me that when he saw you self-harmed, his reaction was to get upset with you. He couldn't empathize or sympathize with the self-harm, or the thinking your boyfriend died, or any of it. He can't admit he was wrong for any part of this, and that's enough to break up in my opinion. At least hold off on moving in together. Maybe you should get more therapy just for a bit to talk about this situation. This is beyond traumatic, and you don't deserve that. OP responds, sorry, he only felt that way in the beginning of our relationship as that was his only experience with someone who self-harms, but it hadn't been an issue for years now. I do feel that we worked through it, and he hasn't always been supportive during the urges when I first tried to stop, and even supportive during a relapse. That's kinda why I'm unsure now. All of this behavior is out of the blue. I know people are gonna think I'm mentally weak or some shit, but I can and do recognize manipulative behavior, and I promise this is the first case of it I've seen with him. Definitely continuing therapy. Top comments! Rabic777. What a sick joke. You need to break things off ASAP. Update post, October 15th, 2021, 13 days later. Long story short, I broke up with him for the following reasons. Drunk driving, endangering himself and others. Took his mother's phone and made me think it was her. Deception. Telling me he was dead. Deception and extreme emotional stress. Letting me think that for hours. I could list every negative trait for that one. Borderline sociopathic behavior. Not being sorry for any of these things. Twat. Telling me I'm too sensitive. Invalidation and shifting blame. Being mad at me for relapsing. Unsupportive, uncaring, unkind. I still won't blame him for the relapse though, as many people here wanted me to. That is on me, and I'm still going to therapy regularly for that. So, for those interested, I took a few days to myself. I did speak over the phone to his mom, and she was incredibly apologetic on his behalf. I taught her how to put a passcode on her phone. After that, we met up and I outlined the things I listed above. He seemed apologetic and sincere about all of them and listened to me well. Unfortunately, he didn't quite understand that being apologetic wouldn't get me to change my mind on ending the relationship, so his true colors came out at the end. He got annoyed at me for ending it, and again told me I was dramatic and other invalidating arguments. Oh well, I said what I needed to say, and that's enough closure for me. Top comment, Threadheads. Told me I was dramatic. The guy who faked his own death calls you dramatic. You couldn't hold a candle to this guy in the drama sticks. You made the right choice to dump him. So, first off, fuck this guy, just through and through. And second, there's a lot more that I would like to talk about, but can't because of YouTube's terms and service, and what they might do to this channel if I went in depth, and tried to have a real conversation about it. The final point, though, is his behavior and his reaction makes me severely wonder if there even was a toxic ex-girlfriend, or if he just was the toxic boyfriend, but then to hide his own behaviors, said she was the toxic one, and he was the victim in that relationship. When, in all reality, it could have just been a desperate cry for help from his girlfriend and went, "Oh my god, you're manipulating me." Now, I'm not saying, of course, that people wouldn't weaponize this kind of behavior for attention. I've seen it, I've dealt with it, I've been in relationships where that's happened. But his reaction to her, that he can't seem to fathom why faking your own death would possibly be traumatic and could reignite some bad habits, and him branding that as manipulative and ruining a, oh, is that harmless prank? Yeah, I am incredibly doubtful that his previous relationship is as described. This post was collected by Big O Nerd. The original OP is Scared of Their Love. Posted to r/AmITheAsshole, June 7th, 2019. Am I the asshole for following my 42 male, wife, 27 female, around for an evening? The title sounds extreme, but here are the details. My wife and I have been together for 5 years. I love her so much that it pains me to write this. The thing is, I was the sole earner for a while, and I was happy to provide. I'm a software developer at a local startup that has tripled in employees and gone exponential in revenue. We're not having kids, so my wife got bored of being home and doing nothing, so she got a job at a law firm as a paralegal. Enter this attorney who I'll call Brandon. My wife started to bring him up quite a bit. You know when your wife starts talking about something, drops it, and then brings it up again a few minutes or hours later, like there was no gap? My wife does that with stories about him. I searched through her Facebook friends list one day for Brandon, and saw that they had connected. Okay. Then my wife starts going to work happy hours and I'm seeing pictures of the guy on her timeline. In most of the pictures, she's positioned next to him, holding a drink. Okay. I've gained considerable weight since joining the startup. There's free food provided to us nearly every day. My wife has maintained a really low weight and looks as beautiful as she did at 22. Brandon is more like how I used to be weight-wise. However, I believe I make more money than he does. So here it goes. I take off work on Friday, as my team is nearing the end of our project. I wait for my wife to leave the firm, and I see her walking out with Brandon. They get in my wife's car, purchased on my dime, and I follow them for a bit. They go to a local dive bar, and it turns out all of her coworkers are there. I see them entering. I wait for hours, and everyone eventually leaves. My wife leaves last with Brandon, and she takes him home. I don't see any physical contact as he exits the vehicle to go inside his apartment building. At this point, I'm sick. I'm gutted. I waited home for my wife and confront her about Brandon. She went insane, basically, threatening to end the marriage because I stalked her. She told me she's always the designated driver for happy hour because she doesn't drink much, which is true. But she didn't address my greater concerns. Am I the asshole? Too Long Didn't Read followed my wife one evening because of her weird relationship with an attorney at the firm she joined. Comments. Murderous budgie comments. You're the asshole. She's allowed to hang out with coworkers. You observed nothing but normal friendly stuff and yet you confronted her? This marriage is doomed. Sorry, my dude. Opie responds, downvoted. Even with him appearing in more and more of her photos, and the majority of her photos from hanging out with coworkers, he is right there beside her. I'm always hearing about him, about his new pets, about his family. I am sick of this, genuinely. User WootySkeety comments, I would think you'd have more to worry about if she suddenly stopped talking about him. OP responds, downvoted again. Good thinking there. OP to a deleted comment, downvoted. Yes, I have replayed the night so many times in my mind. Uber exists. The drive from the bar isn't far. I felt nauseous that she drove him. User Folksma comments, she was the designated driver. That was her job for the night. There's also legit nothing wrong with driving a coworker home. OP responds, downvoted again. She was the designated driver and yet she only took him home? I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this. Help me out here. I'm willing to accept my judgment. User Prolovian comments, you're the asshole even before you started following her. You were spying on her via Facebook, so let's not pretend it was just this one evening. Opie responds, downvoted again. Everyone uses Facebook to keep track of those they love. Hell, even corporations and recruiters check your Facebook out. Are we all stalkers? User SophieMBC13 comments, you're the asshole, and I'm genuinely hoping this is fake. There's no way you're actually 42 years old, mate. People that age are supposed to be a little bit more clever in life. If this is real, then, oh, yikes. Poor woman. Opie responds. Shocker, downvoted. You don't understand the feeling. You gotta know someone, spend so much time with them, and suddenly feel and see it all coming apart. An interloper. Your wife's face lights up talking about another man. User Folksma comments, that's called friendship. I also smile and look happy when talking about my friends. Don't mean I'm sleeping with them. Opie responds, once again, downvoted. I haven't seen her like this in a while. User Golden State of Mind comments, you're the asshole. I think I read a book like this once. Next you're gonna hit her, and she'll make a grand escape, and then you'll date someone who's 22 and repeat the cycle as if she was cheating the whole time. Oh my god, OP, you should watch You, the show. Opie responds, downvoted. I love my wife. I can't imagine life with another woman. User Wadaji, downvoted. You're the asshole, but send flowers to her office saying you're sorry. Show up to the adult, do that. Show up to the office and take her out to lunch. Invest in time with her. Also, helps to meet Brandon to get rid of your boogeyman. Fuck the people focusing on your age differences. She's an adult who started dating and married a guy old enough to be her father for her own reasons. Get counseling for yourself and your marriage. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, I didn't even realize the age gap. I totally just skimmed over that, I guess. Opie responds, downvoted. Hey, thank you. I like the flowers idea. User Big Poppy Rick comments, info, at any point did you try talking to your wife about your insecurities? If you two are in love and it isn't a controlling situation the way Reddit immediately jumps to when there's an age gap, I'd expect that the two of you would talk about it. Did you share your concerns? Did she offer any understanding and support? OP responds, "Hey, I just got home from work, long day. I did not share my concerns until I confronted her." Use your effing Normans! Downvoted! That's what you get for marrying a bimbo 15 years younger than you. Don't call her a bimbo. OP responds, not downvoted, "My wife is intelligent, kind, and witty as hell." Consensus asshole. Alright, before we get to the update, we're gonna play the game Oz Makes a Dangerous Take that could be reversed with the next update. My theory is he's insecure because of the age gap, so he sees her getting close to someone maybe potentially closer her age and feels that he's not enough anymore, especially with his gaining weight. On top of that, she's actually getting herself into a position where at 27, she's making friends again, she's out of the house, and she's having a good time being social. Sounds like she used to be stay-at-home and probably self-isolated and lost a lot of those friendships, and probably was feeling pretty lonely, especially because they chose not to have kids. It sounds like she just wants attention and connection, not necessarily an affair. That one commenter actually hit the nail on the head. It's when she stops talking about Brandon, that's when you should be concerned, because now she's trying to hide the relationship with Brandon. Final update, after 9 days, June 16th, 2019. If it turns out she's cheating, I'm gonna be so goddamn sad. If you don't want to read it, here's the summary. I believe my wife to be having an affair with a coworker who had repeatedly appeared in her pictures and conversations. So, one happy hour, I followed her. Even though I had seen nothing definitive, I confronted her about the issue, and she threatened to end things with me. Believe it or not, I listened to your advice. I received extensive advice from both sides. Publicly, everyone agreed I was at fault. In my direct messages, many fervently believed me to be in the right. Regardless, I sat down and talked to my wife about my insecurities concerning her coworker, Brandon. I told her I did not feel as attractive as Brandon and worried that as I was getting older, her interest in me was waning. I also asked her if she felt financially stable in the relationship. I apologized for following her and told her I would never do it again. She told me several things. First, that she was offended, I did not trust her. Second, that she did suspect Brandon had feelings for her based on some of his interactions and comments. Third, that sometimes she felt isolated by my work and never felt motivated one way or another by my income. The thing about programming is it's hard to explain my work to someone who does not program. She also told me physical appearance and aging had no impact on her feelings towards me. She reaffirmed that she loved me and would never throw away our marriage for a divorced coworker. So, what of our future? I asked her if she still wanted to be with me or if she could not see a future with me after I had followed her. She joked that she would forgive me after drinking a few cocktails at a tropical resort. She told me that in addition to the stalking, the cocktails would also help her forget about all my past rants about various programming languages, Java specifically. Understandable. I haven't told her yet, but I plan to surprise her with an all-inclusive package to the Maldives, or some other island young women enjoy that I have never heard of until researching. Too long didn't read, my wife and I are back on track. Thank you. Genuinely. Also, thank you to the KEYZ user who helped me figure out how to create this update post. So, I think my brain just automatically erased the whole age gap portion when he said, "She looks as beautiful as she did when she was 22. My mind went, "Aw, he still thinks she looks as good as she did 20 years ago." Not realizing that, no, just 5 years ago, which makes me worry that maybe he has the notion that all women hit a wall at 25 and stop looking gorgeous. Which they don't. Also, you can definitely talk about your job to your wife. You can talk about coworker drama. You can talk about things where they messed up. Just don't try to explain high-level concepts to her. Break them down and try to simplify them as much as possible, so that way she can follow along with your work stories and you guys can have that connection. You don't need to give her a crash course in the fundamentals of object-oriented programming language for her to understand that Java just fucking sucks because it's old and is updated way too frequently to fix the bugs they have with it, and it underperforms compared to its other sibling object-oriented programming languages. But people keep Java around because that shit is versatile. There's a solid chance you might have some actual appliances that use Java. I went to Google this to give some fun examples. Google has decided I'm in a very Chinese time in my life right now. You useless fucking AI overview. This is why my power bill's been tripled? This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Baby Talk, ugh. Originally posted December 20th, 2014. Boyfriend, 20 male, of 1 month, keeps telling me, 20 female, he Wuvs me. Okay, short and simple. And I will say now that I've told him a few times that I don't like it. He first said it one night, Wuvs You, less than 3. And I immediately asked what that means, in case he's throwing love out 4 goddamn weeks in. He said, it means I love you, less than 3. He's never used baby talk in the 6 months I knew him, and never seemed this silly. I told him baby talk makes me uncomfortable, and the reference to love makes me uncomfortable this early on. He said he understood. He keeps saying it. When I go to bed, though, he'll text me, love you, less than 3, and says it when he hugs me, when we leave after we've hung out somewhere. Every time I tell him to please stop with the baby talk and wuv. I've told him probably 6 times now. I've said it makes me uncomfortable. Is there a way to better explain, or is this a lost cause? It's very early on, so I'm aware it's better to break up now than put up with it if he refuses to stop. But I'm wondering, from the outside perspectives, if telling him I'm uncomfortable with baby talk may not be clear enough / easy to understand. Maybe he doesn't think it's baby talk in this context? I'm mostly just concerned that I've not actually made it clear to him, someone who considers this talk to be normal, that I haven't actually given him fair warnings or a chance to change before I dump him. Edit, I forgot to add, and it might be important, it isn't always just when we say goodbyes. If we're watching a movie or hanging out, he'll play games a lot and I sort of just chill on his bed, he'll turn around and mumble cottonmouth, love you, and maybe cuddle me. It's not just a thing he uses to end conversations, but it primarily happens when we're saying goodbye. Too long didn't read, boyfriend of 1 month keeps using baby talk to say he loves / wuvs me. Repeatedly asked him to stop, no luck. Am I being clear enough? Is there a better way to make myself clear, or should I just give up since we're only together a month? So before we get to the comments, I just want to say, if you are in a relationship and you two mutually do this, that's fine. Who cares? That's your relationship. You two have all the whimsy in the world. But if you're in a relationship and your partner is doing this and you ask them to stop, or your partner asks you to stop, you gotta respect what makes them uncomfortable and listen to them. Especially if you're dropping neutered love bombs on them a month into the relationship. Relevant comments. Relafro 12. The baby talk annoys the ever-living shit out of me as well. If he doesn't listen, then dump him. OP responds, it makes me feel sick and makes my skin crawl. I'm not a baby or a dog. It feels so skeevy and immature, like a 14-year-old in his first relationship. I told him it makes me uncomfortable, and I fucking wish he'd listen. User Cowed comments, be crystal clear and direct. Honey, don't use the word wuv or any other childish or baby talk. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Sometimes people, guys, need very specific pointers. Now, if you say never use the word wuv again, and he does it, then it may be time to reevaluate with look, you keep doing something I dislike. Why? If you won't stop doing something so simple, I can't trust you with bigger issues. I hate people that won't stop doing things I've specifically asked them not to do. So if you say stop and he keeps doing it, I dump him. OP responds, I've literally said that, almost word for word, but with more explanation. My text to him last night was, babe, for like the 100th time, stop saying you wuv me. I told you baby talk is uncomfortable to me, especially the word wuv, since it's baby talk for love. And this is too early on. Stop. He then apologized and said goodnight on good terms. I did so too. However, he said wuv again today, when I said I was going out for a while and wouldn't be able to chat. And because it was by text, I just didn't reply, as I was A, busy, and B, getting so sick of it, I decided to come to ask to Reddit for help now. But yeah, I need to ask him to explain why he keeps doing something he knows makes me uncomfortable. Beyond the triviality of baby talk, ignoring my requests and willingly making me uncomfortable feels like a red flag. I just don't know if he realizes that wuv is baby talk, and if he's not gonna get me to accept it by repeatedly doing it. I also wonder if maybe he's a furry. It's 2014, this is Kick era. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's doing something along those lines, because goddamn do I remember that. Shout out to all the 14-year-olds who were exposed to Kick too early. Update, December 21st, 2014, the next day. I know it's only been 24 hours, but people felt quite strongly about this, so I figured I'd write this out tonight. First, thanks for all the replies. Many helped me feel affirmed in that I was correct to hate the behavior and be upset. But some also helped me work out why he may be doing it. I will mention my use of the less than 3 heart emoticon and stuff like good nights is not exclusive to us. Everyone in our friendship group uses it almost like a smiley face emote. We use it with others as well as ourselves. However, he could still be misinterpreting that, so I took it into account that maybe I wasn't totally clear, and maybe he was getting mixed signals. I was due to meet him today and did so, intending to ask him to explain why he kept doing it. Not word for word, obviously, but his words were pretty shocking, and I remember it very well, luckily. Part of why I wanted to post it tonight while it was all still fresh in my noggin. Here's how it went. Me. Why do you keep using the word and the baby talk when I've asked you not to? You know it makes me uncomfortable and you've apologized, so surely you know it's inappropriate and you should stop. Were the apologies fake? He looked very offended at this suggestion and I think I baited him too much. I regret it since he got angry. Him, what the hell? No, I apologized for making you uncomfortable. Me, then why keep doing the thing that makes me uncomfortable? Him, maybe I should be more obvious. I'm apologizing for the fact that you interpret my affections that way. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not sorry for the baby talk. You just have to get used to it. Ugh, what the fuck? Me. So you don't care that it makes me uncomfortable. Him. I do, but you just need to stop being uncomfortable with a normal cute thing. You're being a bitch about it, honestly, and it's hurting my feelings. What if I say I'm uncomfortable when you don't use baby talk with me? Would you change? Me. Those are two different things. You're deflecting. No, I have every right to talk to you how I want. You're being a hypocrite. I wouldn't want you to suffer with the burden of dating a hypocrite then. Goodbye. Don't contact me ever again. I was actually kind of proud of how quick I was, but I was fuming after shaking after I walked off and got to my car. He texted me generic, "You're overreacting" stuff, and when I ignored it, he demanded the gifts back that he's given me. Dude spent a lot of money on me, and I never asked for it. I told him the gifts are legally mine once given to me and declared as gifts. I told him I never asked for the gifts, and it was his choice to buy them. Live with the choice. Finished by saying, again, do not contact me. I've blocked him on all social media. The gifts were a little too much, something I also mentioned once, but he gifted again after. Since he only did it once after I said not to, I wasn't going to pull him up on it, unless he, in this situation, kept doing it. I did try to refuse the gifts, and he got upset until I accepted them. In hindsight, the gifts were starting to go to the same direction as the baby talk. I was an idiot for not seeing the red flags sooner. I don't want the gifts, and they're somewhat expensive, all still with tags on, except price tags. Teddy bears, clothes, shoes, and jewelry all bought for me in a month. Now, going to a charity shop after Xmas to hopefully make a decent bit of money back for a better cause than some dude who loves me so much. Less than 33333. He just has to shower me with gifts and ignore my comfort and boundaries. You guys help me open my eyes and make me stop feeling like the bad guy for taking issue with it. I really wanted to understand and explain it to him, but I guess his true colors came out. Surprising how I didn't ever see or hear about this side of him for 6 months when we were friends. Thank you again for all your advice and help in the thread last night, guys. Too Long Didn't Read confronted boyfriend on why he does baby talk after I asked him not to. He thinks I'm the problem and that I should stop feeling uncomfortable. Calls me a hypocrite, I break up with him, and he starts demanding gifts back. He no longer loves me. Final comments. Monteron87TD. It sounds like this guy doesn't really care what other people think and just does his own thing. Not just the Wuvs stuff, but with the gifts as well. Completely disregarding your feelings. OP responds, I mean, part of me thinks he lashed out because I confronted him. because he was so insistent on being affectionate with the Wuvs stuff. It really shocked me to see him suddenly be such an asshole. Maybe others were right in that he loved me, or well, thought he did. We don't know each other well enough after a month of dating, Jesus fucking Christ, and was upset that it wasn't reciprocated and lashed out finally. Whatever, he isn't my problem anymore. I know this is 100% just a me experience, and I am 100% just taking things that I've dealt with in the past and putting them onto here. But right now, 14-year-old me is activating the fight or flight response because this is the kind of behavior and bullshit, same kind of language, same kind of talk, same kind of excuses that I saw on Kick all the goddamn time. It just screams toxic sad boy furry. No one understands my problems, I'm just different, woo. I'm the alpha, and I'm gonna keep doing this until you stop being uncomfortable with a normal, cute thing I do. Woo! Stop being a bitch about it, princess. It's hurting my feelings. And the cherry on top is the, what if I say I'm uncomfortable when you don't use baby talk with me? Would you change? Let me just translate that. What if I said I'm uncomfortable when you don't furry talk with me? Would you change? It just screams closeted furry. Maybe I'm just the only one here, and maybe I'm just outing a lot about myself that I really probably shouldn't be, but this is where I stand, and this is where I'm putting my feet down. I don't know why I looked down to make sure I had feet. Probably making sure I don't have paws. I was actually gonna make a joke about standing 2 toes down, and then I was looking down to see how that would work, because I'm not confident in my assessment here. I'm not standing 10 toes down on this one, 2 toes at most. But this is just the vibe I get, is toxic sad boy furry. Probably calls himself an alpha. Those of you in the furry community, you know what I'm talking about. Ah, shit, here we go again. It's the outro. Hey, really cool thing about GamerSupps AFK. They have a hot cocoa flavor, and it's not just flavored like hot cocoa. It's actually honest to God hot cocoa. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this already, but there's an AFK flavor where you get hot water and you just put in the thing and mix it, and you basically get hot cocoa, and you drink it, and it helps you sleep. It's like a win-win. It's cool as shit. Anyway, use code EYES at checkout for 10% off. Linky in the description.